G'day folks, Dr. Emily Harper here, and if you're a bloke over 50 watching this right now, I reckon you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say things aren't quite working the way they used to. I've been a urologist here in Sydney for over 15 years, and I've seen thousands of men walk through my door feeling absolutely defeated, thinking there's nothing left to try. But here's the thing, and I need you to listen carefully because this might just change everything for you. What if I told you that a vitamin you can pick up at any chemist for less than the cost of your morning flat white could genuinely help restore your confidence and performance in the bedroom? No expensive prescriptions, no dodgy supplements from the internet, just something so simple that most blokes walk right past it without a second thought. Now, I know what you're thinking. If it's that easy and that cheap, why hasn't anyone told you about this before? Fair question. And we'll get to that in a minute. But first, I want you to ask yourself something. Have you noticed that after 50, your body doesn't respond the way it used to? Maybe you've tried those little blue pills, spent hundreds of dollars on treatments, or worse, you've just given up entirely, thinking this is your new normal. Well, mate, I'm here to tell you it doesn't have to be. The vitamin I'm talking about is folic acid, also called vitamin B9. Yeah. I'm not going to make you wait until the end of the video to find out what it is. It's folic acid, and before you switch off thinking that's just for pregnant women, let me explain exactly what this does for men, particularly for blokes dealing with erectile dysfunction. Here's the science in plain English. Your body needs something called nitric oxide to get proper blood flow where it counts. Think of nitric oxide as the traffic controller for your blood vessels. When you're aroused, your body releases nitric oxide, which tells the blood vessels in your penis to relax and expand. More blood flow equals stronger erections. Simple as that. But here's where most men run into trouble. As you get older, your body produces less nitric oxide naturally. Stress, poor diet, smoking, diabetes, high blood pressure, all these things chip away at your body's ability to make enough nitric oxide. And when that happens, no amount of wanting it to work is going to make a difference, because the physical mechanism just isn't firing properly. This is where folic acid comes in, and this is bloody important, so pay attention. Folic acid helps your body produce more nitric oxide. It's like giving your body the raw materials it needs to do the job properly. Studies have shown that men with erectile dysfunction often have low levels of folic acid in their system, and when you supplement with folic acid, you're literally giving your body what it needs to restore proper blood flow. Now, I can hear some of you saying, "Doc, if this is so brilliant, why isn't everyone talking about it?" And that's a ripper question. The answer is pretty straightforward. There's no money in it for the big pharmaceutical companies. A bottle of folic acid costs about $5 and lasts you a month. Compare that to those prescription medications that can cost you over $100 a month. No one's making massive profits from folic acid, so there's no multi-million-dollar marketing campaign behind it. It's that simple. But I've seen it work, guys. I've seen blokes in my clinic who were ready to give up completely, who'd spent thousands on treatments that barely helped, turn things around with something this simple. And I'm not talking about overnight miracles here. This isn't a pill you take today and wake up tomorrow like you're 20 again. This is about giving your body what it needs to repair itself from the inside out over time. Right, let's talk about the protocol, because this is where most people get confused. And I want to be crystal clear about this. The dosage I recommend is 5 milligrams a day. That's 5 milligrams, not 500 micrograms. Some of you might see folic acid tablets at the chemist in 400 or 800 micrograms, and while those are fine for general health, for addressing erectile dysfunction specifically, you want the higher dose of 5 milligrams. Take it in the morning with your brekkie. Having food in your stomach helps with absorption and reduces the chance of any upset stomach. Though folic acid is generally very well tolerated, and here's the crucial bit. You need to commit to this for at least 8 weeks. I know that sounds like a long time, especially when you're desperate for results, but this is how long it takes for your body to build up the levels of folic acid it needs and start producing more nitric oxide consistently. Let me break down what you can expect over those 8 weeks, because I reckon it helps to know what's normal. In the first 2 weeks, honestly, you probably won't notice much. Your body is just starting to absorb the folic acid and beginning to work on those nitric oxide levels. Don't get discouraged here. This is normal. Around week 3 to 4, this is where things start to get interesting. Many of my patients report noticing morning erections coming back. If you haven't had those in years, you'll know exactly what I mean when they return. It's your body's way of saying, hey, things are starting to work again. You might also notice slightly better response when you're intimate with your partner. By week 6 to 8, this is typically when blokes notice the real difference. Stronger erections, better staying power, more confidence. And that confidence piece is huge, guys. When you've been struggling with this for months or years, the psychological impact is massive. Getting that confidence back changes everything. Now, and this is important, some of you will see results faster, some slower. It depends on your overall health, whether you've got other conditions like diabetes or high blood pressure, your age, your diet, all of that plays a role. But 8 weeks is a good benchmark to work with. Let me address the questions I get asked all the time in my clinic, because I know these are probably rattling around in your head right now. First up, Doc, I'm diabetic. Will this work for me? Yes, it can. In fact, blokes with diabetes often have even lower levels of folic acid. So supplementation can be particularly helpful. However, and this is crucial, you need to have a chat with your GP before starting. Diabetes affects blood sugar regulation, and while folic acid doesn't directly impact blood sugar, your GP needs to know about everything you're taking to manage your overall health properly. Second question, I'm already taking medication for my heart, blood pressure, or thyroid. Can I still take folic acid? Generally, yes. Folic acid is safe to take alongside most medications. But here's the thing. Folic acid can interact with some medications, particularly some anti-seizure medications and methotrexate, if you're taking that for arthritis or other conditions. So again, check with your GP. I can't stress this enough. Don't just assume it's fine because it's a vitamin. Your doctor needs to know. Third, where do I buy it and what should I look for? Any chemist in Australia will stock folic acid. You want to look for tablets that are 5 milligrams each. The brand doesn't really matter. Whether you get the expensive brand or the generic home brand, it's the same active ingredient. Save your money and get the cheapest one. Take 1 tablet a day with food. Fourth, are there side effects? Folic acid is generally very safe. Most blokes don't have any issues at all. Occasionally, someone might get a bit of an upset stomach or feel a bit nauseous, which is why I recommend taking it with food. Very rarely, some people might have trouble sleeping or feel a bit irritable. But we're talking very uncommon here. If you notice anything that concerns you, stop taking it and have a word with your GP. Fifth, and this is a good one. Can I take more than 5 milligrams to speed things up? No, mate. More is not better. Taking excessive amounts of folic acid can actually mask a vitamin B12 deficiency, which is a whole other problem you don't want. Stick to 5 milligrams a day. That's the sweet spot based on the research. Now, I want to address something for the blokes who are a bit older, maybe in your 70s or 80s. One of the comments I often hear is, I've tried everything, and nothing works. I'm losing hope. I get it. I really do. When you've spent years struggling with this and tried treatment after treatment with no success, it's absolutely demoralizing. But here's what I want you to understand. Folic acid isn't a miracle cure, and I'm not going to pretend it is, but it addresses a specific deficiency that many older men have. Even if you've tried everything else, if you haven't specifically addressed your folic acid levels and your nitric oxide production, then you haven't actually tried everything. I had a patient, let's call him Tom, who came to see me about 18 months ago. Tom was 68, had type 2 diabetes, and had been dealing with erectile dysfunction for about 3 years. He'd tried those expensive prescription medications, but they barely worked for him and gave him terrible headaches. He was at the point where he was ready to just accept this as his life now, and it was affecting his marriage pretty badly. When I suggested folic acid, he looked at me like I'd grown a second head. He said, "Doc, if those expensive pills barely work, What's a cheap vitamin going to do? But he was willing to give it a crack because he had nothing to lose. We also made some changes to his diet, cutting back on processed foods and adding more leafy greens, which are naturally high in folate, the natural form of folic acid. Tom came back 8 weeks later, and I could see the difference in his face before he even said anything. He was smiling, standing taller, looked 10 years younger. He told me that around week 5, he started noticing morning erections again, which he hadn't had in years. By week 7, he and his wife were intimate again, and it was working properly. Not perfect, mind you, but working well enough that he felt like himself again. The relief in his voice when he told me this. Guys, that's why I do this job. Here's what Tom said to me, and I'll never forget it. He said, "Doc, I got my confidence back. It's not just about the physical side of things. When you can't perform, you feel like less of a man. Getting that back, it's like getting a piece of yourself back. And that right there is what this is really about. It's not just about erections. It's about feeling like yourself, feeling confident, feeling like you can still be intimate with your partner without anxiety and fear of failure. Now, I want to be completely upfront with you about something. Folic acid works best when it's part of a broader approach to your health. If you're smoking a pack a day, eating nothing but meat, pies and chips, never exercising, and expecting folic acid alone to fix everything, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. Your overall health matters, your diet matters, exercise matters, sleep matters. All of these things work together. Think of it like this. If your car's not running properly, you might need to change the oil. But you also need to make sure the tires are inflated, the battery's charged, and you're using the right fuel. Folic acid is like changing the oil. It's essential, but it works best when everything else is in order too. So, what else should you be doing alongside taking folic acid? Let's talk about diet for a minute. Foods that are naturally high in folate include leafy green vegetables, like spinach and kale, beans and lentils, asparagus, Brussels sprouts, and citrus fruits. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a vegetarian or anything like that, but adding more of these foods to your diet will boost your folate levels naturally and give you other health benefits as well. Cut back on the grog if you're drinking heavily. Alcohol interferes with how your body absorbs and uses folic acid. I'm not saying you can't have a beer with your mates or a glass of wine with dinner, but if you're smashing 6 beers every night, that's going to work against you. If you smoke, now's the time to quit. I know it's not easy, but smoking damages your blood vessels and reduces blood flow throughout your body, including down there. Folic acid can help produce more nitric oxide, but if your blood vessels are damaged from smoking, you're fighting an uphill battle. Get moving. You don't need to become a marathon runner, but regular exercise, even just a decent walk every day, improves blood flow, helps with weight management, and boosts your overall cardiovascular health. All of these things support better erectile function. Now, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked, and that's the B vitamin family. Folic acid is B9, but it works even better when you've got adequate levels of B6 and B12 as well. These 3 B vitamins work together to support healthy blood vessels and proper circulation. You can get a B complex supplement that has all 3, or you can take them separately. A lot of my patients find it easier to just take a B complex in the morning alongside their folic acid. Just make sure the B complex you choose has at least the recommended daily amount of each. I also want to address the psychological side of this, because it's massive and often gets ignored. When you've been dealing with erectile dysfunction for a while, the anxiety around sexual performance becomes its own problem. You start worrying before anything even happens. That worry triggers a stress response in your body, which releases hormones that actually make it harder to get an erection. It becomes a vicious cycle. Taking folic acid and seeing physical improvements helps break that cycle. When you start noticing morning erections again, when you have successful, intimate moments with your partner, that anxiety starts to fade. Your confidence builds. And that confidence itself actually helps with performance because you're not stuck in that stress response anymore. Some blokes find it helpful to talk to a counselor or therapist alongside the physical treatment. particularly if this has been going on for years and has really impacted their mental health or relationship. There's no shame in that, guys. Looking after your mental health is just as important as looking after your physical health. Right, let's recap the key points, because I know I've thrown a lot of information at you. Folic acid, vitamin B9, 5 milligrams a day, taken in the morning with food. 8 weeks minimum to see results, though many blokes notice improvements around week 5 to 6. You can buy it at any chemist for about $5 a month. It helps your body produce more nitric oxide, which improves blood flow for stronger erections. Check with your GP before starting, especially if you have diabetes, take other medications, or have other health conditions. Don't take more than 5 milligrams thinking it'll work faster. Support the folic acid with a healthy diet, regular exercise, less alcohol, and if you smoke, quit. Consider adding B6 and B12 as well for maximum benefit. Most importantly, be patient with yourself and commit to the full 8 weeks. This isn't an overnight fix, but it's a genuine, science-backed approach that works for many men when given enough time. Look, I'm not going to tell you this works for everyone, because that would be dishonest. Some blokes have underlying health issues that need more intensive treatment. Some might need prescription medications in addition to folic acid. But for many men, particularly those with mild to moderate erectile dysfunction related to aging and poor circulation, folic acid can make a real difference. And here's the beautiful part. Even if it doesn't completely solve the problem on its own, it's supporting your overall health. Folic acid is important for heart health, brain function, and overall well-being. So even in the worst-case scenario where it doesn't dramatically improve your erectile function, you're still doing something good for your body. There's no downside here. Before I wrap up, I want to say something to those of you who are feeling embarrassed or ashamed about this. Don't be. Erectile dysfunction is incredibly common, especially as we get older. It's not a reflection of your masculinity. It's not a personal failing. It's a medical condition with physical causes, and there are solutions available. The fact that you're watching this video and looking for answers shows you're taking control of your health, and that takes guts. If you found this helpful, do me a favor and share it with someone who might need to hear this. I know it's not the easiest topic to bring up, but you might just help a mate who's struggling in silence. Drop a comment below and let me know if you're going to give this a try. I'd love to hear how you go. And if you've got questions I didn't answer in this video, leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to respond. I'm also planning follow-up videos on the other vitamins that support men's health, foods that boost circulation naturally, and what to do if basic supplements aren't enough. So hit that subscribe button if you want to stay in the loop. Remember guys, getting older doesn't mean giving up on this part of your life. Your body might need a bit more support than it used to, but support is available, and it doesn't have to cost you a fortune. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the ones that work best. Give folic acid a fair go for 8 weeks. Support it with healthy lifestyle choices, and see what happens. You might just surprise yourself with how much better you feel. Cheers, and I'll see you in the next one.